Hi, thanks for joining us today. I'm Sherry Ann Tom,
And I'm April.
and we're going to have a little conversation here about self care for the cancer individual. Whether you're going through your cancer journey actively, or whether you're done with your cancer treatment journey and you're heading back into the world, or you're in the world after your cancer treatment. Because we feel like this is so important, the whole concept of self-care. It's like, what is that? And so April and I have been talking about it, and we thought we'd share our thoughts with you.
Yeah, thanks, Sherry Ann. Yeah, I think that one thing we've talked about that we notice as going through a cancer journey is that through all of the treatment path from the beginning, through initiation and through the treatment, there's this sense of just being disconnected from yourself. And
Hmm.
when you're in the treatment, that's the only thing that matters in your life. And every day it's, when am I going? What's happening? How am I feeling? And there's then, once you leave the clinical setting, suddenly you go, wait, now what? What do I do?
I right. And I know that people were saying, yeah, you need to do some self-care. And I would be, um, what exactly is that?
Right.
Is that a bubble bath? Is that a mani-pedi? Is it, feeding me good, healthy food? I mean, I think it's yes, all of that, but it always felt so like, what is it?
Right. Yeah, there's just so many forms of it, right? Which we'll talk about later, like that physical form, and there's an emotional form and a spiritual form. And so after we go through our journey, we're so disconnected from those because it's just been so traumatic. And so, yeah, like what we want to talk about is like, what is it and what is it that I need, right? It's also
Right.
individual.
Right, right. Well, I love that you said it's what is it that I need? Because I think that's exactly it. It's like, what does this being and this body and this entity need to feel like fed,
Yeah.
nourished? And it's not nourished like in, oh, I'm gonna eat well. Yes, I agree that that's it. But it's like, what nourishes me on all the levels? And you were just talking about like mentally and emotionally and spiritually. It's like, wow, do we think of self-care like nourishing those parts of us?
Right. Right. Like really breaking it down into these different ways that self care can be a part of your life now. And that how each type of self care can feed you in the ways that you need. For me, I don't necessarily take bubble baths and feel like that's my self care. But that's just me. I don't even have a
Right.
bathtub, so it's really challenging. But I think that, like, and maybe for you, Sherry, and that is like ultimate. Get in the tub, have a glass of wine, bubbles, flower petals, whatever it is. That's beautiful, and that can totally be somebody's version of self care.
Right.
But like for me, my version of self care, like I love to just lay a blanket out in my grass and just like lay in the sun. It's just
Yeah.
something so simple, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I could feel the warmth of the sun. And I mean, in that same vein, for me, when I was going through my cancer journey, this is self-care, letting myself, and it was a letting because I wouldn't do it
Mhm.
until I really said, what do you need? And that was a 2.5 hour nap. It
Mm,
almost like I wouldn't set a timer. I would just crawl into bed, get that blankie, not laying on it like you do in the sun, but putting it over me and then just letting myself sleep. And almost like clockwork, it was like 2.5 hours, and my body would wake up and it'd be like, oh, I feel good.
yeah, just refresh. I mean, like in that moment, you're like, I nailed it. That was exactly what I needed.
Right, right.
A
And
couple, yeah, go ahead.
I think the key for me was permission.
Yes.
It's like there's something, is that what you're gonna
Yeah,
say?
I was gonna say. Yeah. Go ahead. Go on with
Okay.
permission.
Permission to like check in with myself to see what I really needed. Like what, how does my body need to be fed in this
Mhm.
moment? And then realizing I can give this to myself.
Right. Right.
Because I have to just say, before I let myself have that, it was like, oh, I don't want to mess with my sleep at night. So I'll just set a timer for an hour. I'll let myself have an hour nap.
Right.
And then so then I take a nap for an hour. And of course the alarm would wake me up and I would feel exhausted still. I was like, oh,
That's
this
not
isn't it.
right. Right. Yeah, I love that the idea of permission, and we talk about this a lot in the coaching, right, in other ways. But I think even like as specifically as women, like women and men, but women have a really hard time giving them that permission to do something for themselves.
Hmm.
Especially mothers, as a mother, you're like, I have a million things to do. I can't take a 2.5 hour nap. What? Right?
Right. Right.
So you're not even used to giving yourself that kind of permission, because the list of things that need to be done is never ending. But um, but after a cancer journey, for some reason, there's a shift there, right? Like
Mm.
so much that happens to you that like now is the time more than ever for you to allow yourself to have that time and give yourself permission, because you matter, and it matters that you care for yourself.
Oh, you are right on. And it sadly sometimes takes a cancer journey
Mm,
to kind of knock us on the side of the head. Oh, I hate that image, but it's almost true. It's like, wake up, you matter. I love that you said that. It's like, oh, so I matter. So I need to take care of me. It doesn't have to be a bubble bath, like you said, but
right.
I need to take care of me so that I can show up for the things that are really important to me.
Yeah.
And,
Mm, that just
yeah.
landed real good. It's true. I was just reflecting sort of on my own journey of that realization for myself, and I remember just always go, 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 doing, 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 doing. And so part of my self care through my cancer journey was, I'm not doing anything. I don't want to do anything right now. I want to
Mm,
just be here and just move through this and just reconnect with me, reconnect with my senses, and who am I, which is something we talk about a lot in cancer coaching. But like, and that's so connected to the self-care, right? Is like,
right,
how do you know you if you don't even know what to give yourself?
right, right. I mean, what I'm getting in this moment is the aha of it's self-care for what purpose? And the purpose is to recharge us, whatever that looks like, whatever brings us alive, whatever makes us feel like more whole,
Yes.
that's self-care. And so that could be, I know we're going to talk about more of the specifics, but that could be anything that not only brings me alive, but like fills my tank,
Yeah. Fills your cup.
fills my cup.
Yeah, we've talked about this, like the idea, and many of the audience have probably heard this of, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What
Right.
what brings you joy? I was like,
Right.
I love that word. Joy is such an amazing word.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's what do you want to fill your cup with?
right,
Oh, so do you want to fill it with joy? Well, of course.
right.
But we say of course, but sometimes we fill our cup with um, negative responsibility that, oh, I should be doing this,
Mhm.
or have to's. I really have to wash the dishes, or I really, and those are the things that deplete us. So it's kind of like having a hole in the bottom of the cup. You're
Right.
putting the stuff in because you think that you have to do them, and then it just kind of your energy spirals out of the bottom. It's like, I'm trying to fill it. I'm
Right,
trying to do the things that I'm supposed to do
right,
versus the things that really fill us.
right. Right. And that filling it with all these things you're supposed to do is exhausting, even thinking about it and draining
Right,
you. Yeah.
right, right. So just now, let's talk about the things that we like to do to fill our cup, and then we'll in subsequent videos we can break it down into the different parts of us.
Yeah.
What do you do to fill your cup?
I love to ski. I love to ski. Skiing brings me so much joy, and I'm like expelling energy and laughing and enjoying nature. And like for me, that activity is just fills my cup every single time and giving
Mm,
myself the time and space to go and do it, spending the money to do it, which is hard. That's like the other thing is like, oh, I can't spend that much money because it's expensive. How
right. Yes, it is.
do I put a price on the joy that I feel from this thing?
Right. And then once your cup is full,
Right.
what's possible then?
Then I can give. Then I have this energy
Right.
to give my joy and all this energy that I've built up to my loved ones and my life and my, whatever the projects are that I'm working on, my career.
Right.
And if I didn't have that, I'd be just like, oh, I
Right.
can't.
Right.
What a-
So one way that I fill my cup now, which is kind of new to me, is gardening. I didn't
mm,
really have a garden, and someone once said, "You have the worst yard on the block," and I was offended. So I made an effort and hired some help because I'm not right. I didn't know it.
yeah,
I didn't know how to do it. So I kind of learned, and now I actually find joy in taking the weeds out because I've created this beautiful y- yard,
yeah,
and when I'm there and I'm weeding, it's almost meditative. I mean,
yes,
I come out, my body's been used. Um, I feel purposeful, like, oh, I'm creating beauty. And I don't know, there's something about my hands in the soil. I
yeah,
can use gloves, but it's actually more fun when my hands are all dirty and there's dirt underneath mine. I don't know, there's something really natural about it.
yeah, yeah. It's like it's therapeutic, right?
It
Like
is.
in many ways, like with your hands and the idea of like planting seeds and allowing things to grow. I mean, we use the
Allow yes,
of
yes,
planting your seed, and you're like literally planting a seed.
exactly, exactly. And then I'm getting the weeds away, so whatever I planted can grow, and it's I'm nurturing that, but it's also nurturing me, and it's just kind of I think it's symbiotic. It's
Mhm.
like together we're I don't know. It just after I do that, I sit and I rest and I'm like, that felt good. Then
Yeah.
my cup feels more full after doing that.
And then what can you do?
Right. And then what I can do is what I really want to do, not the have tos. It's like that filled my cup enough for me to like calm down and there's not this freneticness or this urgency. I
Mhm.
get my hand in my garden and I'm restored to me.
Yeah.
Wow. I love this conversation. I can't wait to have more. And let's pause here for today.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks,
All
Sherry.
right. Bye.